I'm Sam Plommer, and I'm here with Chris Gordon at How Blaze a Biz.
Hey everyone, I have the privilege and the company of filmmaker and actor Sam Plommer today. So, hey Sam, thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me on here.
You're welcome. I've been brought to your attention. No, you've been brought to my attention, should I say, from some friends of ours, mutual friends of ours, about your new film that's come out called Plastic Boy, or it's out now already. Sorry, should I say Plastic Boy?
It's out.
It is, yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. Obviously, going to find out a bit more about yourself as well and where your ideas and things come from. So, so my first question for you is: how did you get yourself into filmmaking? Because it's not an easy; it's quite a vocation for people. So, how did you get into it?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like forced myself into it, I guess. I had always been like interested in like writing and like from like a young age had like written like lots of like kind of like stories, but not like anything. I wasn't like a precocious kid that wrote like really great like scripts at like 10 years old. It was just like dumb stories at school. And I guess I kind of progressed and I got like into film, I guess like via my dad, even though I feel like I watched like a lot of rom-coms through my mum, which also probably like inspired me just as much as like my dad making me watch like Pulp Fiction when I was like 12 years old, which was like pretty young. And then, yeah, I think when I had an interest in that, then it was always writing. And then I studied film vaguely. I studied media communications at university, which had like some film elements. And then I guess I got into quite like DIY films, like mumblecore filmmaking. And then I think it was through that, I was like, oh, I guess I could make something like this. Like, I guess like I did like, I guess you kind of brought up watching quite big budget films. So then I guess you see film as like this like unattainable thing, which I mean, it kind of is. But like, then I think when I started to watch more like lo-fi, low budget films, I was like, oh, I could really do something like this myself. And then just started kind of like making things from there. And now I'm here.
Fair enough. Sounds nice. A nice little way to get into it.
I mean, there's lots of like anxiety and dread in between that, but yeah, that's like the basic story.
Yeah. I say I was watching Pulp Fiction when 12. I think for my 11th birthday, my sister brought me The Terminator on VHS for my 11th birthday. I like watching good old adult films like that. So Pulp Fiction is probably a little bit worse than Terminator in some.
I feel like Terminator's quite violent. I remember watching Terminator really young, and like I remember all the scenes where he like murdered women called Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And being like terrified that was going to happen to my mum.
Oh no. Yeah, Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously you've done filmmaking now and you're acting as well in the films yourself. So do you prefer being in front of the camera or behind or both? Or do you like being both, the whole shebang, should I say?
Yeah, I guess I kind of see it like kind of like a package in a way. I think it was the first thing I made was like a web series, which was like kind of like these little like 3-minute videos based around my life and kind of like weird dating situations I'd had. And at the time I had like way less resources than I do now. And I still have like next to none. So it was like literally not on a tripod was there. And like, I didn't have any money to give to anyone. So I think I was like, oh, I'll put myself in it instead of like relying on someone to like be at my, because I made like 20 web episodes and I felt like I couldn't really find someone to do that for like, and it was like quite easy. I could like write and I could direct it and I could just put myself in it and it made it all go quite quick. And I guess it kind of carried on from there. And I guess I've always like kind of like explored like, I guess my own life through films and stuff has happened, but like a bit more exemplified. And yeah, it's always been like a character quite close to me with like maybe like some minor distinctions.
Yeah.
Probably no distinctions. So I guess I've always been in the package deal. I guess it would be quite, I have like written things that would require me to like just be behind the screen, behind the camera, which probably a lot of people would like prefer. But for now, I like quite enjoy it. it's like, it feels a bit more like immediate than like writing and directing. And I guess maybe I like am a bit of an attention seeker, and it feels like you're kind of more like on show there. It's like the shallow answer as well.
Not at all. Okay, I was actually going to ask that question a bit later, so I'll ask it now, because obviously you've got the 2 films, you've got your web series. You mentioned it there, but it's kind of based, a lot of it's kind of based on your own experiences, because there seems to be a common theme as well, with dating and to a varying degree in some of them. and it's, in Plastic Boy, that is part of it, not the whole reason for it, but it's obviously that's one aspect of why he feels like he does. So do you find you've drawn a lot, been able to draw a lot? I know it sounds horrible to ask if that's the kind of thing, if you've drawn a lot from your own experiences on that side of things.
No, yeah. I mean, I guess for better or worse, it is like based on like a lot of my own experience, which I find is like quite, I don't know, maybe it's like I feel like my toxic trait is maybe like experiencing things and then like in the back of my mind thinking how that would like translate to like a film. So yeah, I would always say that it's probably like more like a exaggerated version of like events. Like not exaggerate too much, because I quite like to observe like day-to-day stuff, and also you have to add like some tension to make it like not just like you walking half an hour to like a date. So yeah. I would say that like a bit like with Plastic Boy, I think in the film has happened to me, but not exactly in that kind of sequence of events. It's like probably from like a few years put together into like the 2 weeks of like hell that is in the film.
Okay, cool. Nice. It's good to be able to do that as well. And to sort of, if you've got that ability to be able to write those, I mean, mine would be a train wreck, I think. And if I did the same sort of thing for my early life, it would be, going through till I got, I suppose I could tell a few stories myself if I can think
I feel like everyone can. And like, I mean, I definitely didn't start off like, I don't know how good they are now, but I definitely didn't start off writing stuff that was like, that I thought was good until like a few tries. So
excellent. Where did you draw your inspirations from? Is there anyone, as I say, for your writing or directing, is there any style? When I say this, I'm talking about maybe any directors out there or any actors out there that you can kind of draw your experiences or draw your inspiration from, or where you sort of admire.
So I think like, not like a director, but I'm like really inspired by. I guess like I said earlier, like my dad like was the first one to show me like Tarantino films, and it's not someone that I'm like directly I would like cite as like inspiration to anything I've done. But I think that was the first time that I could like. I remember like watching a bunch of those films, and I could kind of tell they were made by the same person, and there was like a style that was like repeated, and like an economy of like language and themes and like styles. Yeah, I think that's the first time I really identified what like a director was. Like I guess I just thought like films were just like made out, and like I don't know, actors got together and said the words, and that was kind of, someone filmed it, and that was it. Yeah, I didn't really get what a director was until seeing that kind of style, and I guess like. As I got older, I was really into like films by like Sofia Coppola and like Lars von Trier, and kind of like, I guess like indie filmmakers, to use that kind of tactic that makes my soul cringe a bit. And then when I got really into like mumblecore films by like Joe Swanberg and like the Duplass brothers and like Lynn Shelton, and I guess they were all kind of doing like a similar thing, but maybe on like a much lower. Like a lower resource level, like making films about their lives, and like there was like themes like and repetition I could like recognize as being like a signature style. So that amalgamation of people is why I made this film.
Fantastic, excellent. And I love that as well, because out of all the people I speak to, that's a question I ask, and that's actually I think possibly the first time I've heard the way you've talked about the styles and a signature of a style of a certain director or a certain cinematographer. I mean, it's just, I can't remember the cinematographer, for example, the name who did Dune recently, because I think he did Rogue One and Dune, but a signature of that is obviously you can if you follow those films, you can understand and see the style is very, very unique to that one individual. I don't know. I'm holding my hand up like that.
I love to like express myself through hand.
So you're right. With directors, like you say, I mean, for Tarantino, for example, whether love him or hate him, he's got a very, very unique style, and you can, no matter which, as soon as you switch a film on, it was him who's directed it. So it's it's very interesting to hear that from someone who's selfless, to bring that up, because as I say, everyone has spoken. I don't think I've actually heard anyone put it in a terminology of it being a signature. So that's actually really good.
I'm glad that I had a unique perspective to that. I feel like, I think until like I watched films by people like that, who like, I guess were kind of like writing and directing, I didn't really know, I guess, what a filmmaker was, just because like, until like, I saw that and was like, oh, these are like a collection of films that have like a thread that like runs through them.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully I've picked up already. I mean, I've not been able to watch all of the things yet, but just from the descriptions and trailers, I've been able to see that there is you've got that theme, you've got that signature that you can start putting. I'm doing the hand thing again, right? Yes, that you can start putting through. So. It's a good trait. Like you say, it's a good trait to have, because then people will recognise it as soon as they see one of your films. They'll say that's a Sam Plommer film. I mean, I hope like the 10 people who have seen Plastic Boy do think that. But I guess even though like I would never say like I will only ever write things based on my own experience. Like even if I did, I guess, branch out and to do like different types of films, if I like got the chance to like. I guess I would still kind of want that thread to like run through them, and for it to feel cohesive, even if it's like a completely different, even if I made like a sci-fi film, which would be whatever, but like, I would like it to like feel like part of like a world, I guess. Excellent. I was going to say, is there an ultimate like idea that you'd love to be able to create if budget wasn't an issue? Because I know that for filmmakers, that's a big one, is a budget. But if the budget wasn't an issue, what kind of film would you love to be able to put across and get?
Like just like anything. I feel like my ambitions are like, I have like a lot of like hopes, but I feel like when you make a film for like no money, like the idea of like any money is like insane. Like I feel like I watch like some like indie films that are been made for like £200,000, and in the scheme of like films where you have films like Lord of the Rings, like that's like no money at all. But when you make a film for £5,000, you're like, wow, imagine having £200,000. I could do anything. Like I feel like I'm like a very self-conscious person when I write. Like I'm always thinking like, how would this translate? How would I what would it look like? How could I guess kind of budget for it? So I feel like if I did have that kind of parameter, I would write a sci-fi film. I mean, I would I have like kind of like lots of ideas. Always like I have like so many ideas on my phone and like scripts on my laptop that I've written without trying to think of like too much budget wise. So I mean, the world is my sad oyster.
It's fantastic. I guess that's another point is right as well. There's me saying unlimited budget, etc. But you're right, because filmmakers, you can make a film now on a very low budget. I mean, and the Plastic Boy was it? I think you won an award for Plastic Boy as well for being the best feature film made for under $5,000.
Yeah, it was made for like around like £5,000. I mean, just like give or take maybe like a few pounds here and there. Which is brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And it's great that we can start seeing more and more of these things coming out. I think with phones and the way technology works now as well, people don't need to have. Oh, it'd be lovely to have these. The £30,000-40,000 cameras, but you can do it on an iPhone. You can make it. I've seen films being made on iPhones really, really well as well, because they'll have like 4K quality and things. So, I think like technology really helps kind of like democratize that kind of idea that like making films is just something that like men with like massive cameras can do. So definitely, technology is like super. I guess it's like a really big barrier when you come into filmmaking, and it's like not like sound is like so expensive, but I think having like a phone or just any way to kind of make something and edit it on your laptop with like iMovie and like distribute it on YouTube, like it definitely is like a learning lesson, and I think it really does help you kind of like claw at some doors before like opening them.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice. It's like I say, it's opened a lot of doors for a lot of people now, whereas I think before it was probably more prohibitive for people to be able to start something like this. And now it's people's dreams. A lot more people are able to follow their dreams and follow their passions and have the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many film festivals that are like dedicated to like iPhone filmmaking or low budget, micro budget filmmaking, or like a lot of film festivals have categories for like films made under £5,000. And I saw a film festival the other day that had like a category for feature films made under £100, and I was like, okay, that's like a bit fast. I feel like that is like impossible. But if you did that, like good for you. So like, yeah, there's like beyond you, there is like a real like audience. I think for like that kind of stuff. I mean, there's always going to be just kind of like, I guess, quite cynical people who think that like real films are made for like 10 million on like massive cameras, but then there's always going to be like an audience, I guess, one maybe more kind of like intimate, interesting stories that are made away from like big Hollywood systems.
Yeah. I mean, I do find myself, I mean, through the years I've been doing this, I've spoken to a lot of, I'm going to have to do that term that you're not really keen on, is the independent film. Because it's like,
no, I love the term. I feel like when it's like
just an indie film, doesn't it?
Short into indie, it becomes a bit like, I feel it's cliche, but like, I feel like independent and indie always feel like different in my head.
So yeah, independent film. And I actually prefer a lot of them. A lot of the time I do prefer them myself, because you get more heart and more story a lot of the time in an independent film. Because with blockbusters now, I mean, I'm not going to knock, I love a blockbuster movie. I love, looking at the cinema and seeing them.
Yeah.
You can't not like them, can you? But I do feel a lot of the time that you can get closer to the story and to the cast within an independent film, because there's, I think, just more, the writing comes out more, the acting comes out more, because everyone's such a close knit on that set. You know how close they're being, but the story just appeals, and you sort of get drawn in a lot more than you do with like all the fancy, massive special effects and the huge, full London Symphony Orchestra overthrows. When you have it, because you do have great music. What's the word? Can't think. You know what I mean? I can't think of the word you use now for music. When you've got nice, you've got music. That's the one. Yeah, got soundtracks are great. Yeah, that's the one. You've got fantastic soundtracks on there, and everything is really, really good. But I think, I don't know. Sometimes I just think the story just shines more when in an independent film. It tells more of a good story, heartfelt stories. And ones you draw into a bit more, because I think you're not getting distracted. I think maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
No, yeah, definitely. I think I remember watching like Lost in Translation when I was like, I guess like my early teens, which isn't really an independent film because it literally has like big Hollywood actors and was made like a big budget. But I think at that time, a lot of films I'd been watching growing up were quite big, budget Hollywood superhero films. So to me, Lost in Translation felt very indie. And I think where it's made, it does have that kind of approach. And I remember just like at first being like, you can't make a film about this. Like nothing's happening. Like we're not really saying anything. And I feel like by the end, I was like, I don't know, I felt like I'd like seen something like very brand new, like very like intimate. And then when I was older and started watching like a lot of like mumblecore films, I felt very much like that. I was like, wow, these people are really like, these are films about literally nothing. But and then like sometimes it doesn't work out. Like sometimes it is just like boring. But then I think it does like lend itself to like a real kind of like observation on like human behavior and like relationships and stuff like that.
Definitely. I'm going and sort of moving on to Plastic Boy actually for that, because you just mentioned there. Because obviously, because he's kind of lost his way in society as well. Do you feel that kind of is a reflective society now? Because I see it a lot. I mean, I'm 46 now, sadly. I'm 47 this year. It's horrendous. It's like, no, God, no, I'm getting old. But yeah, true. But I see it around, and you see society, and you I mean, I guess sometimes I feel that you're kind of lost with your direction in your way. So do you feel that's your film of Plastic Boy and your character in there he's representing that kind of aspect of society as a whole? Or
yeah, definitely. I feel like it's like a real thing with like people that I know, and like I even like relate to it myself a lot. I guess I would say I have kind of like more ambitions than the character in the film, because he doesn't like that whole stuff I was going through and feeling that at the back of my mind. I was like, oh, I can make this into a film where it's like that character isn't really, that's not where he's going. But I think it does really represent, just kind of like that kind of personal phase of your life where you like had like a lot of momentum and you like moved out of your hometown and you went to uni and there's like a lot of promise. And then I guess when you like get stuck in the same job, you lose that momentum and you're just kind of like, just kind of like live, like existing, and anything that you kind of thought that you had wanted to do, you're like a bit too like tired to actually kind of pursue. And I think it's like a real thing, especially like, I guess like in London where you just are working a lot and you can't be really bothered to do anything because you have to work like 40 hours.
Yeah.
So my film is a comment on capitalism. I didn't think that when I wrote it, but
well, exactly. Because you're right. Because people do this. You have to slave away now. You work to live. No, you live to work, don't you? Basically, you should be working to live, but you live to work, and I
feel like that's kind of what everyone's like depicting moments of the film where there's like lots of like office scenes. There's I guess like that kind of like monotonous cycle of like going to work, coming back home, waking up, and I mean, I do it every day, so I'm still doing it. But I guess this Plastic Boy is kind of about, I guess, when you're kind of like stuck in that system, but also you're not very good at it, because I've never been very good at jobs like that. I have a job now, I'm like kind of like okay at it. But I feel like when you aren't very good at something and you're kind of like stuck in it, and it's like, well, what else am I gonna do? You have to have a job, so like now I'm just like stuck in the system, but I can't even like really partake in it very well.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I've been doing the same sort of IT job. 20 years ago when I finished uni, I didn't want to do anything in an office. I thought I'm never going to sit in an office because it's dull, it's boring. The monotony, which is exactly what plastic being is, that gets stuck in that cycle. Yeah. And for 20 years, I've been in that office job, different ones, but every single time it's the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
So I can totally relate to that feeling of that.
And it's super like that. Like, I had like the job I have in the film is quite similar to one I have now, and I actually do really like my job. But obviously there are moments, I guess, when you are just, I guess, feeling a bit kind of like deflated by it.
Yeah. I'll also say I really like my job at the moment as well, in case anyone from my work is
for legal reasons, I love my job, and this is not based on my job. I mean, actually not, because I made it way before I have my job now, but for legal reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And so with Plastic Boy as well, I mean, how long's that been out now? I mean, if you kind of made it a couple of years ago, was it? Has it been?
So we made it like 2018. Okay. We shot it 14 days, but over weekends. So it felt like it took like a whole summer to make, basically, because we shot on weekends because that's when like people were available and stuff like that. And the office scenes that we shot in the film, we filmed in like an actual office that I used to work in. And we wouldn't have been able to have access to that in a weekday because people are there, and hiring a space like that would have been like astronomical. So it took like a while to make, just in terms of like shooting, because it was quite stretched out. And then, I mean, I guess it all felt quite quick when it was happening, and the post-production didn't take like too long. But I guess it was a process of like submitting it to film festivals, and then there's always like a big wait till you hear back, and that process is quite like time consuming. So it's really cool. It's like out now. It's been out for like, I think it's like a couple of like a month now. On Vimeo. It's cool that people like can watch it just like outside of me sending them like a YouTube link that maybe looks like it's not really a thing. Like I feel like when you post something and you're like, you can buy it and give it like monetary value, it becomes like a real thing, kind of.
Yeah.
And it feels new to me to like talk about it again and like have people talk to me about it when they've watched it, because I guess it was made like 2-3 years ago now, and then editing was really stressful, and after a while just like, please go away. So now it's like cool to have like a bit of like a rest from it. I mean, I say rest, it's have like some minutes at like loads of festivals, but like some space from it and kind of come back and feel a bit like rejuvenated.
Yeah, rejuvenation of it. That's great work, because obviously at the time it would drain you, like you say, all the post editing and everything like that. It does take us time, and then nothing. But obviously now it's getting out there and it's worth it, because it's Vimeo, isn't it? It's available on.
Yeah, you can buy it on Vimeo, and it's also like available to stream on Plex. which, you know, you do whatever you want, but also if you buy it, then you get more money for it. So you should buy it.
Oh, okay, no worries. So people can obviously buy that on Vimeo and stream on Plex. That's a great thing as well, I think, as well. Like we were talking about technology before as well, streaming platforms, and there's so many different platforms now that you can actually have your films shown on. Whereas again, decade or 2 decades maybe ago, it wasn't a possibility at all. It was
definitely limited. It's very cool to exist in a way that feels like a bit new. I guess it does mean there's like a lot, kind of like more noise to break through, but I guess there's also just like more opportunity to do stuff. I guess it's like a one-way coin. I guess when there's like less opportunities, there was like more obstacles to break through. So there's going to be like something, but yeah, I think it's like a cool, like new place to be in.
Excellent. It's kind of, it's just, I think it's closed the world down as well, or not closed the world. There's a huge world out there, but obviously with stuff like that as well, you can reach target, you can reach new audiences so much easier. I think it's fantastic sort of time. It really is fantastic time for that kind of reaching out to different audiences, different countries, different worlds. Someone on Mars is going to sit there and watch it.
It's coming out in Venus in 2023.
Yeah. Oh dear, that shows how tired I am on a Friday. So yeah,
I mean,
different countries.
One day it will be streaming on a different planet, so you would have predicted that.
Yeah, very, very true. In fact, if you beam it out on satellites, you never know, they might be sitting watching it already.
You could be watching it right now. It'd be very sad for them. They couldn't find another film to watch.
Exactly. I mean, as I say, you've got so Plastic Boy is out now and it's on Vimeo. So I've seen the trailer, so I will go out and I will buy it on Vimeo as well because I want to support.
Tell people you know to buy it as well.
Yep, and I will share that link out for everybody to go. So don't worry about that. That's fine. Everyone will. I'll share it everywhere to go and see that one. Are there anything else you're working on now? Because I guess COVID, pandemic. I mean, you say you've got a full-time job as well. So COVID stopped a lot of things, didn't it?
I had kind of like wanted to make another film that was like maybe like a similar budget to Plastic Boy, and then I guess kind of COVID like stopped that. And then, but I did kind of like write quite a few things in the pandemic, which I was like quite surprised I had like the energy to do so. So yeah, I like had like a few conversations about like funding and stuff for like other films I've made, like I've written. But then also I'm quite like impatient and like maybe if that takes too long, I'll probably just end up like making something like similar to Plastic Boy, like a small budget. I feel like I have like a lot of things written that I could make like lots of different, like could fit into like lots of different ways. So if anyone out there wants to give me money, you can PayPal it to me.
No worries. It's good as well. I was going to say, because of the pandemic, you might have stopped you doing stuff physically filming, but it doesn't stop your writing.
I mean, it was definitely like a weird moment. Like I wasn't like motivated to a whole thing at all. But there were like moments where like I got like quite a lot of writing done. But it's like hard. I don't know. I find like writing quite difficult. Like I wrote Plastic Boy really quickly because I'd been writing notes of it on my phone for like quite a few years. Like as I was like making my web series and stuff. So when I got to writing the full thing, like I already had quite a lot of it formed, and so it felt really easy. But sometimes starting stuff that is a bit new is like a bit like difficult, and I would find myself writing 20 pages, then like suddenly changing the entire plot. So it's always like a stressful system.
Okay. Give me tips on how to write stuff if I was thinking about it as well. Because it's one of these ones where you do, like we said before, you've got ideas, and I was thinking I've got ideas, but I just never know how to put them onto paper.
I mean, I try really hard to write like every day, even if it is just like 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. I find that like really helps me to like form like some kind of schedule. It's hard though, because sometimes you can't bother. But like even if I was like write like a sentence before I go to bed, like it will kind of like trick my brain into like seeing that as like a ritual I have to do every day, and then it'll just kind of pick up from there.
Okay.
So maybe the advice I can ever give. Sometimes that didn't work for me. Yeah,
good little tip though.
I mean, it's the only real thing I can ever like think about like ever works for me.
I kind of do that in other ways. I always kind of, if there's something I need to carry on doing in the morning, it's the last thing I'll do before I go to bed is I'll drill it into my brain, or I'll put it onto paper myself.
And it'll just get it down. It just kind of like, I feel like it just kind of like pushes your brain a bit to see it as like a thing to, once you've cracked it a bit, you can keep doing it.
Yeah. My issue is I'll do that, but then I won't sleep because the whole night my brain will just be wearing over and it'll be thinking of all these things I could be doing with it.
I mean, I feel like thinking time is also working time, so it all works out.
Excellent. Cool. Before I sort of draw this to a close as well, is there anything more you'd like to say, Sam, about anything at all about your projects or people, apart from obviously going out and getting onto Vimeo, which people will get the link for on everything here for Plastic Boy?
Watch Plastic Boy on Vimeo, and then tell people, if they like awkward, weird gay films, to buy it as well. That's all I ever tell people these days. That's like all my conversations are just like, hi, hello, buy my film. You have to.
You do. You have to sell it. You have to make sure and go out there. So it's a perfectly valid thing to be doing.
Yeah, it is.